Okay, so the million dollar question, how do I do a Kegel or a pelvic floor muscle contraction? So before we get into it, to qualify this and to qualify this process and our process, we base this contraction sequence off of the research that has been done by Joanne Milios in Australia. She's a PhD researcher and physio, and she has found across different studies with a wide array of men that the most proficient and most sustainable contraction of the pelvic floor in order to stop urinary incontinence following surgery is a front to back pelvic floor contraction. What that looks like is, more often than not, guys are more aware of their backside of the pelvic floor or the rectal side, and those rectal side muscles take over and don't allow for you to feel those front side of the pelvic floor muscles that are more involved with clasping the urethra and sexual function. So we want to talk about ways to use the front side muscles first and go from the front to the back. So what does that look like? If I take away half of the pelvic floor and we've got the penis, the testicles, and the rectum, we're gonna think of front to back. So it's gonna be penis first. With penis first, that looks like and feels like a retraction and a lift, right? So we say turtle head in the shell, lift the head. That's step one. Once you feel that, we're going to talk more about positions to learn that, and so on and so forth in the next videos. But Kegeling wise, it all starts with turtle head in the shell in prime circumstances. Next step is nuts to guts. So thinking about lifting the testicles upward, and in an upward fashion, like you're reaching for, higher and higher as you get better at this contraction. So nuts to guts, nuts to belly button, nuts to sternum, nuts to lungs, nuts to throat, nuts to guts, and you keep going. And then rectally, easiest way for our guys to remember this is butthole to belly button. So thinking of a rectal lift that goes towards the belly button and keeps going, right? Front, middle, back. All of these things, if you're hitting each segment, is gonna allow you to have more muscle involvement, as well as not use the muscles that may have not previously been used in a way that's gonna neglect those muscles, but we're gonna turn on the muscles that have potentially been neglected in the past first, and then go front to back. So I'm gonna go ahead and describe this in terms of a perfect world of front to back. And then we're gonna talk about how, we're gonna take the pendulum from the back side and start to swing it towards the front side, but we're not gonna necessarily start exclusively with the front side because it's very difficult to learn. So we're gonna start at the middle and then work our way to the front. But first, this is a perfect world scenario. So I'm gonna take the pelvis. If we're thinking of a profile view, we've got penis, testicles, rectum, right? When we're thinking of starting at that very front end, we're thinking of a retraction of the penis and a lift, right? So we say turtle head in the shell and then lift. On the lift, sometimes I'll occasionally use the verbiage, think about an elephant trunk, like think about the penis as an elephant trunk, and you're lifting your trunk and then holding it at the top while it's already retracted. So that's step one, that's all the way to the front. Step two is nuts to guts. In the next video, when we talk about the neck, we're starting in that middle of the pendulum to get the ball rolling. But step two, after the retraction, is nuts to guts. Testicles move upward. think about at the beginning of this, we're trying to bring the testicles to the belly button, nuts to guts. And then after, while these two are still contracted, we're gonna add the third part of this, which is lifting the rectum, or what we like to say, butthole to belly button. So the rectum is here and you're lifting up as though you're trying to hit your belly button with that lift. More often than not, upon digital assessment, so when we do an in-person evaluation, there's more of just a squeeze at the rectum and not a squeeze and lift. We don't want to just squeeze any of these muscles. We want to squeeze, then lift. That's that step 2 of the contraction. So, in review, retract, nuts to guts, butthole to belly button, boom, boom, boom. We've got the perfect pelvic floor muscle contraction.